The year is 1915, Central Valley, California. 18 years have passed since the death of Dracula. In the middle of a desolate desert, a lone woman trudges through the heat and dust. She's desperate, looking for help, hoping to make it to the nearest town. A man on horseback appears on the trail. She flags him down, begs him for assistance. He barely glances her way, then rides off without a word, leaving her stranded. She continues on foot, her steps heavy, her breath short. Suddenly, she senses something nearby. There's movement among a cluster of trees ahead. She approaches cautiously, heart pounding, but before she can react, a shadowy figure grabs her. All we hear is her scream, fading into silence. We're then introduced to a small, isolated family living deep in the desert. Dr. Abraham, the quiet, stern father. Mina, his gentle but distant wife. Max, their curious and brave teenage son. Ruddy, the younger brother, full of questions and fear. They live far from town, surrounded by dry land.
Dr. Abraham was a stern and distant father. He kept his home tightly guarded, never allowing strangers inside, and forbade his children from interacting with outsiders, for reasons he never explained. In contrast, Mina, their mother, treated her sons with warmth and care. But she battled a mysterious illness, one that seemed to come and go without warning. One evening, Abraham walked to the bathroom there Max is bathing, knocked on the door, and called out to his son, "I need to talk to you, son." "They're back," Abraham said quietly. "The devils. They've returned. I need your help to stop them." There was a long pause, but finally, "All right, we'll face them together." Later that night, Max was jolted awake by strange noises coming from the basement. He followed the sound, cautiously descending the stairs. Near the far end of the room, he saw something that froze him in place. His mother, muttering to herself. She kept repeating in a dazed voice, "They've come back, but this time they're stronger, more dangerous." Max stepped forward gently. "Mom, you're exhausted. You need rest. Please, this isn't good for you." But just before leaving, Mina turned to him and revealed a deeply buried secret. "There's something I've never told anyone," she whispered. "For years, I dreamed of having a daughter. That dream never came true." The following morning, Dr. Abraham sat with Max and opened up about the dark beliefs he held, stories most would call myths. He asked his son directly, "Have you noticed anything strange about your mother lately? Has she been acting different?" Max hesitated, unsure how to respond. Dr. Abraham continued, "It started years ago, back when we were still living in London. One night, your mother was attacked by something not human. Since then, I've believed she was infected." He looked down, then added solemnly, "That's why we moved to California. I thought we could start fresh, leave the darkness behind. But I was wrong. Whatever we ran from, it's found us again. And this time, your mother is in real danger. I need you to protect her, Max, no matter what happens." Later that day, a girl named Elsie came rushing to the house, carrying her injured brother Eddie, who had been hurt while working in the fields nearby. Dr. Abraham immediately examined the boy and discovered he had multiple fractured ribs. With a calm but intense focus, he performed a minor surgery right there in the house. It was remarkable. As he bandaged the boy, Abraham said to Elsie, "The hospital's not far from here. Take him there for proper care, just in case." Meanwhile, inside the house, Mina was preparing breakfast for the family. Max stepped into the kitchen and asked, "Mom, what's for breakfast today?" Mina turned. "Blood pudding. It's been years since I made it." Max raised an eyebrow. At that moment, a starving bat, drawn by scent, swooped toward the house. It attacked Mina without warning. She screamed, staggering back, and yelled to Max, "Get away from me!" Max fought off the creature. In a desperate struggle, he managed to kill the bat, then quietly buried it in the woods. One evening, Ruddy confided in Max about his concerns. He believed that the supernatural creatures their father often spoke about were actually real, and that he had even heard sounds coming from the basement. However, Max remained skeptical, insisting that such creatures did not exist and had never posed a threat to them. Ruddy's words fell on deaf ears. The next day, Max escaped to the nearby hills to clear his head and play his guitar. Meanwhile, Elsie, the girl whose brother had helped, visited the house again, bearing cookies as a gesture of gratitude. Mina, however, cautioned Elsie about the neighborhood, reminding her
of her past derogatory remarks and the dangers that lurked nearby. That night, their father assigned them a simple math problem as homework, but Max struggled to focus, leading to a heated exchange with Abraham. Mina intervened to calm the situation, but Abraham's frustration boiled over, causing him to stand up from his chair.
After that, Mina apologized to her son for how Abraham always treated him harshly, explaining that it wasn't personal. Abraham was only trying to protect the family. Mina then began to share a past story about something that had happened to her husband. She revealed how both she and her husband had once encountered those beasts, and how she still felt the cold fear of that experience. Later, while Ruddy was outside getting some fresh air, he heard a strange sound coming from the woods. He asked Max if he heard anything too, but Max replied no, saying he didn't hear a thing. That night, as they all slept, Max had a vivid nightmare. In his dream, a terrifying woman with blood on her mouth appeared and attacked him near his mother's place. The next morning, when Max woke up, he saw his mother outside repeating a strange word over and over, but he didn't respond or react. Later, while chopping firewood, Max suddenly noticed his mother nearby and was startled. She cried out, "We are not safe. Those beasts have come." But then, the boy rushed his mother inside and she collapsed to the ground. A while later, Mina, who needed to drink some blood to regain her strength, called Max over. But Abraham warned his son to keep his distance from his mother, given how fragile she was. Abraham handed Max a container filled with fresh blood, which Max gave to Mina. As soon as she drank it, Mina began to recover. But then she started spinning false tales. She insisted that the creature was standing right by the window. Curious and skeptical, Max went to check for himself. Just as he was about to look outside, Abraham stepped in and firmly pulled him away from the room. Later, Max went outside and carefully scanned the area, but he didn't see anything out of the ordinary. The next morning, as the siblings sat down to breakfast, Ruddy teased Max about being such a good cook, since their mother was still unwell and Max had taken over preparing the meal. After they finished eating, the two boys went outside to play. For the very first time, they ventured into their father's office, a place they had always been told to stay out of. Max warned Ruddy it was a bad idea, but curiosity got the better of them. Inside the office, they found strange objects scattered everywhere. Suddenly, Ruddy discovered a hidden drawer. When they opened it, a faint noise came from inside. Moments later, a woman appeared, urgently crying out, "Help me!" It was revealed that the woman was actually the same character from the movie's opening scene. At that moment, Abraham returns home. Upon entering, he kills the woman by slitting her throat. His sons witness this and are left deeply shaken with fear. Later, Abraham reveals to Max and Ruddy that they must prepare themselves for the real work ahead. He leads them to a secret room where many bodies are covered with white sheets. Abraham then shares his past, that he was once a vampire hunter who has slain over 13 undead creatures, including a man who used to be a leader. He also taught others how to defend themselves. Abraham then hands Max a large hammer and a knife and forces him to learn how to kill these undead creatures. Max strikes the throat of the woman to finish her off. Ruddy is disturbed by Max's actions but does not intervene. Max cuts her throat, which makes Abraham happy. Abraham also wants his younger son to be capable of doing the same, but Ruddy refuses. Abraham insists forcefully, defends his brother, and in anger, Abraham viciously Max harshly. After this, Max, unable to endure the constant imprisonment imposed by their father, decides to leave the forest behind. Abraham told his son, "You can leave."
Where would you go?
That afternoon, Max and Ruddy both knew Mina's health was failing rapidly, but Abraham stubbornly insisted she would recover. Later, Max apologized to his brother for doubting, but Ruddy didn't seem to hear him. The next morning, Abraham also apologized to Max for the harsh treatment he had given him, admitting he had been too forceful. That same day, while riding his horse, Max unexpectedly met a woman named Elsie. They introduced themselves briefly, and Elsie asked why Max's family preferred living out in the wilderness. Max replied, "Because that's where our dad wants to be." He also mentioned that his mother was seriously ill. Meanwhile, Abraham discovered Mina had passed away and broke down in tears over her body. That day, her funeral and prayers were held. That night, Max had a dream about his mother, noticing a wound on her neck that suggested she had been a vampire too. When he woke, he found Ruddy missing from his bed. After searching, Max found him in the garden, where Ruddy had smashed his guitar.
You said you wanted to leave.
Max promised his brother he wouldn't leave him, but admitted their father was not a normal man and his actions were hard to bear. Later that afternoon, a man named Arthur arrived at Abraham's house. Max recognized him immediately. Arthur explained that they had once been neighbors in London and that he had known Max since he was a child. He also expressed his condolences over Max's mother's death. Abraham and Arthur hadn't seen each other in years, so their reunion was a bittersweet one. Arthur then revealed he had once killed his own wife under pressure from Abraham.
You turned me against Lucy.
He begged Abraham to stop his dark deeds, but Abraham remained stubborn. Max overheard the heated exchange between Arthur and Abraham from outside. Eventually, Abraham angrily kicked Arthur out of the house. Before Arthur left,
And what about Mina?
he asked Abraham if he had been the one who killed his wife, Mina, but Abraham refused to answer. Shortly after, Max confronted his father and asked what he and Arthur had been discussing. Instead of answering, there, he handed Max a book filled with sketches and notes about all the spirits and creatures Abraham had supposedly killed over the years. But Max didn't believe any of it. To him, the people in those drawings looked like innocent victims, and he began to see his father as completely insane. Worse yet, Max realized his own mother had died because of Abraham. Everything his father had been telling them for years, it was all lies. Without warning,
Stay then.
Abraham suddenly attacked Max and slashed his hand, injuring him. Then, he locked him inside the basement. Minutes later, Abraham took Ruddy away from the house to train him. Meanwhile, Max managed to treat his wound with a bandage he found, and searched for a way to escape. Eventually, he broke free and armed himself, determined to put an end to his father's madness, once and for all. That night, at a nearby camp where Elsie was staying, she sat by a fire alone. While warming herself, she heard strange noises coming from the woods. At first, she thought it might be Henry, another camper. But suddenly, Henry appeared from the trees, bleeding from a neck wound. Abraham had attacked him. Before Elsie could react, Abraham grabbed her and forcefully dragged her away, ignoring his screams. Max, who wasn't far off, heard her cries and rushed in that direction. Back at the scene, Abraham ordered Ruddy to slit Elsie's throat, but the young boy hesitated, deeply unsure about going through with it. In a twist of fate, Ruddy suddenly turned on his father and stabbed him in the stomach, finally lashing out after years of pain and manipulation. Max arrived just in time, emerging from behind and decapitating Abraham, ending the nightmare once and for all. Elsie, shocked by everything that had just happened, stared at Max in disbelief. She called him a murderer, but Max told her the truth. Abraham was a monster. The next morning, Max and Ruddy packed their things and left the house behind, walking away from the lies they had lived with for years. From a distance, Elsie watched them disappear into the forest. And just like that, it was over. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy the content I create and would love to see more, please consider subscribing. Subscribing helps me grow and continue bringing you even better videos.